It's presidential, the outcome evidential. We strive for higher mental. This time, no accidental. We shine.
Welcome, family. Miraculous day to you. If you don't know where you are with the Read, Remember, Repeat family. You know what I mean? This is a show where we getting out books. You know what I mean? Um, this is one of the books I'm tapping into right now. Think and Grow Rich, Black Choice, right? This is another one. The Four Agreements. Shout out to my man Dice. He gave this to me. You know what I mean? Somebody could give you a book, man, and that right there is like the best gift in the world. Like me, if anybody want to get me something, get me a book, please. I like to go in my solitude and read, you know what I mean? Fill the brain up with some good knowledge, you know what I mean? But let's go. Where we went off at? Boom, let's go. Shah undercut his own position by not understanding how to negotiate. He got fixated on the 50,000 and couldn't get himself unstuck. This is one of the biggest mistakes you can make when entering a negotiation. Never get fixated on a number. You want the person you're negotiating with to think you're stuck, but when the right moment comes, you have to be prepared to move off it. That's not undervaluing yourself. It's just a matter of understanding that successful negotiations are built on give and take. If you refuse to concede anything, the conversation isn't going anywhere. If Shah had understood that basic principle, he would have seen that there was a very easy path toward getting what he wanted, and then some. Let me show you how he should have handled it. When I offered him 30K in a point, he should have dismissed it out of hand. Instead, he should have come back to me with some humility. You know what, Fifth? I was tripping. By submitting that bill, don't worry about the 50K. Even if he didn't believe it in his heart, he should have sensed I was pissed and softened his position a bit. Once he had gotten me to let down my guard just a bit, he could have came back with a stronger ask. I know I was thirsty with the bill, but I did put a lot of time into his album. We were really in the trenches together on it, and I really appreciate you offering a point. But instead of one, could we do 2 points? If he had said that, I wouldn't have been upset. He was in the trenches with me. After all, he had proved his worth and loyalty. I would have probably said, let me think about it, and then countered with 1.5 points. In all likelihood, that's where we would have settled. Shah would have walked away with close to $2 million from that deal alone. Plus, our relationship would have remained on strong terms, and he would have likely gotten points on subsequent albums as well. Instead, he got only a fraction of that. I was offering him a chance to enter a new tax bracket, and he negotiated himself into nickels and dimes due to ego, insecurity, and possibly lack of faith. That's not hustling stronger, it's hustling weaker. I believe one of the reasons Shah failed to negotiate his proper value is because he took the process personally. Maybe his pride told him he shouldn't have to ask for anything. Maybe he didn't trust me, or maybe it was just plain old greed. Whatever his reason, Shah clearly let things get personal. This is the other huge mistake people make when they start negotiating. They take offense at what's being offered because they feel it's an unfair representation of what they put in. Please understand this. Negotiations are not personal. Again, I don't care if you're dealing with a longtime business partner, a friend, or a family member. The other person is never going to start at a number you think is fair. It's just not how the process works. They're always going to start at a lower number and then come up if you push back. Just how high they came up depends on how good a negotiator you are, but they're never going to start at that number. Trust me, I've been part of thousands of negotiations, and none of them have started exactly where I wanted them. Even with all the leverage I have as a proven entrepreneur and entertainer to this day, I still have to work to get to the number I'm looking for. The key is I never react emotionally. Even if the energy I'm projecting is of someone who is pissed off and about to walk away. Internally, I'm cool. I'm just waiting to see how my energy is received. If I push and push and the other side still won't move, then I will walk away. But more often than not, a few pushes get me to where I want to be. And then we seal the deal. Once it's done, it's like all the posturing and threatening never ever even happened. Everyone hugs, raises a toast, and talks about how excited they are to be in business together. When I first started operating in corporate America, I can't lie, this threw me off a bit. In the streets, there are certain words that you can't come back from. In the boardroom, it's different. People will call you outrageous, liar, motherfucker, and cocksucker, but then act like it never happened once the deal is reached. In the streets, those might be the last words you ever say if you say them to the wrong person. But in the corporate world, it's different. Those words never really carry any weight to them. It is all part of the process, something that has to be tolerated to reach a common ground. You should always fight for your worth, but never take offense that you have to fight in the first place. When you do that, you're moving off of emotion. I might not be fair, but to get what you want, you can only move off of strategy. Anything less will leave you hustling backwards. Creating real power. Creating real power. One of the best deals I ever negotiated was with Starz for my TV show Power. It was also, at least initially, one of my least lucrative deals, but that didn't faze me at all. My strategy when I started talking with Starz was not to get the biggest check possible. It was to create the biggest opportunity possible. From the moment I came up with the idea for Power, I knew I was sitting on something special. My goal wasn't just to launch a single TV show. I was looking to create a franchise where the characters were so compelling that eventually they could support their own spin-offs. What Marvel had done in movies, I wanted Power to do for TV. I wasn't trying to create a planet, I wanted to create a universe. To bring that universe into existence, I had to be very humble with my initial demands. Despite my success in music and movies, my track record in television wasn't as strong. My only other foray into TV, an Apprentice Esque reality show for MTV called The Money and the Power, and been canceled after one season. I had to accept that I didn't have the leverage to demand a superstar-sized check. Yes, Starz believed in my vision, but they weren't ready to break open the bank. The budget they were offering was limited. If I wanted the show to be a hit, I'd have to spread that money around. That's why I agreed to do the first season for just $17,000 an episode. Over 8 episodes, that came out to $136,000. Mind you, it wasn't just $17,000 for acting in the show. I was also the executive producer. That meant I spent months in the writer's room and working with showrunner Courtney Kemp. When it was time to promote, I had to be front and center in Good Morning America, calling in to radio stations and shaking sponsors' hands. I was making a total commitment to the show for $136,000. From a strictly financial perspective, it looked like a terrible deal for me. I could have made 3 times the amount just by doing a club appearances or a 10-minute show. Forget about getting paid fairly. Given how much time I invested, I basically paid myself to make the first season of Power. When some people found out how much I agreed to do the season for, they were shocked. They figured I would have told Starz, man, I'm 50 Cent. I can walk into a club, pretend to drink a glass of champagne for 5 minutes, and get paid $50,000. No way I'm signing this. That response might have seemed in character for 50 Cent, but it would have been a very short-sighted strategy. That's how Sha Money or Gilly the Kid might evaluate a situation, but not Curtis Jackson. By doing Power for well below my normal rate, I was betting on myself again, and this bet paid off spectacularly. Power quickly became Star's highest-rated show by a wide margin. Over the past 5 years, it's single-handedly driven the network's success. That metric has given me a lot of leverage in negotiations. When I first started talking to them, I had to be a little down to earth. After the show blew up, I could afford to be more aggressive. I built so much leverage that I just re-signed with Starz for $150 million. The deal includes a 3-series commitment and a fund to help develop other G-Unit projects. When it's all said and done, it will probably be worth a lot more than even that. Even as I was hustling on the set in the writer's room and on the promo runs, I never for a second thought my true value was only $17,000 an episode. That was just the number I had to agree on to jumpstart the process. My true value was going to lie in executive producing and starring in a hit TV show. That would birth multiple spin-offs and multiple revenue streams. Everything I was doing in season 1 It's meant to put me in a better position to make that happen. To be fair, I could afford to work for cheap that first season. I understand most people aren't in such a fortunate position. For you, taking less money up front might mean encountering real hardship. It might mean having to work a second job on top of whatever venture you're pursuing. It might mean taking out loans or giving up your apartment and moving in with a roommate. I realize steps like that can be demoralizing, but I promise that these choices will be worth it in the long run. Securing the best long-term potential is always worth making sacrifices in the moment. See that? Now we on the next part, just do shit. You know what I mean? That's page 109. And y'all already know, man. Shit. Y'all know where we at, you know what I mean? Y'all know where to come back. Read, remember, repeat. Let's get it.
Accidental, we shine because we special. No Kim, Kali, or Kendall. The others, I ain't forget you. Some stories just isn't mental. I'm loving this instrumental.